Hello my friends and welcome back to my channel. I'm being a little quiet today because I'm trying not to disturb the meadow. Thought we'd take a walk back here. We saw this in the History of the Farm series. The meadow right now is about 3 weeks later. Yeah, I would say about 3 weeks later from the last time you saw it. And you can see the growth that's happening. Things are taller. It's woody. And I'm trying not to disturb the birds. Hope you can hear the crickets and the grasshoppers. There's a lot of interesting things that are happening back here. Again, we try not to go back here too often. Really want to leave this for the wildlife. Giving them their space is so important because it does help keep the balance between livestock and wildlife, right? If they have their own space, they have their own food sources, they really don't need to look to ours as food sources. Now there's butterflies flying through. I'm sure I'm not catching that on camera yet. It's probably still a little too early for most of the butterflies, but they're starting to arrive. The birds are here. It's summertime birds, right? So migration is over. So what we have back here are summer birds. And the heat of the day is starting to kick in, unfortunately. It is summer, and so most of the stuff is laid down, I would say. But you can see even the little pathway that we try and keep on the edge here that leads back to the woods is fairly overgrown. Because we don't want to come back here at this time of the year, right? Birds are nesting, animals are raising young. The last thing we want to do is be running machinery back here. So it'll get a little bit overgrown, and then we'll come back through later in the summer and take it down a bit so that we have the ability to walk through without too much trouble. A lot of what's back here is thorny, with big thorns. All right, we've got lots of bushes, lots of trees and plants that have thorns. The animals, the wildlife, are adapted to managing thorns. I am not. And this is what happens. They catch on me. I mean, look at these thorns. All right, so walking through here is a bit treacherous for me. Sorry about the shaky. I was stuck on thorns. Which again is kind of why we keep the pathway when we can, when it's appropriate, so that we don't have to walk through and get attacked by thorns. I find this whole meadow fairly interesting, you know? I look out, and again, this was a wide open field. It was a mowed yard, for lack of a better term. Right? It was just maintained as a giant yard space before we got here. Now it's maintained as a meadow. And I do find it interesting that this stand of trees in the middle here has taken up residence in almost a straight line. And there's nothing behind it other than those trees. Now, I'm not dressed to walk out there. I'd have to wear some coveralls to walk out there. But hopefully the zoom gets you, if I can keep my camera steady. God, I'm awful. To see the trees that have come up, and they're literally just in a line. So fascinating how that happened. We didn't do it. It wasn't planned. That's just what nature said was going to happen. And that bright yellow one is the last in the line. Just thought that was cool. It kind of starts with a evergreen and moves to the bright yellow. And it's just a line of all different types of trees coming up. And then there's some random pop-up trees here and there. of course. And we leave the saplings alone. Again, I don't really walk out there. I don't want to walk out there and disturb things. I'm going to shut up for a second and hope you can catch the bird sounds. They shut up with me. I'm closing in now on our entrance into the woods, which is probably where we'll stop. But I did promise you a trip back here at least a couple of times. And actually, I promised myself because it's been a long time since I've seen it progress, and I really would like to see that growth and that progression. Now, as a FYI, there are, I'm not going to call them water features, but there are places where nature has determined that we can collect water. It's not a large puddle, but it's semi-deep, and it's probably been made a little bit deeper over the years by wildlife drinking from it, using it for washing their food, right, if they're a raccoon. So I think that's a great thing, right? We've got another one coming up here. This one is going dry. But what happens around these water features is the plant life changes, right? And they're not, I call them water features, like they're all fancy. They're puddles, but they're puddles that exist for a purpose. Puddles with a purpose. We've got a turkey vulture up overhead. There he is. Almost impossible to catch him, but there he is. Turkey vultures are a great indicator of the health of your landscape. They're scavengers. You see them on the sides of the road all the time. But when they're up in the air like that, they're assessing, they're looking through the property, they're looking for anything to scavenge. I use them as an absolute signal if I need to go collect or check on something, right? If I see a group of turkey vultures circling in the same place, that typically means that there was a wild animal that didn't make it. And often I will have to go back there and find it and not remove the carcass, but move it to a location that's more suitable for nature to take its course, the scavengers to have at it, and make sure that it doesn't go to waste. So, oh, and we've got a great blue heron flying overhead. Can always tell a great blue by the way they fly, the speed at which they fly. I lost him already. And his legs. So hopefully you caught that. He's got long legs that trail behind him. So we know that that's a great blue. And he'll stop at the pond often. That's how some of the pond gets stocked, right? Stuff sticks to his legs from other places and he brings it in and stops at our pond and drops it off. All right, I'm going to call it a day here. The wind has picked up a little bit as I got closer to the woods, so it's cooled down a bit, which is nice. And I will catch you on the next video. I hope you enjoyed this. I'd love to hear your thoughts on whether or not we should do something different with our meadow, or if you want to come see it again, you know, every so often. There are birds fluttering through. A red-winged blackbird just went through. And I can stand here all day and get distracted. So I'm going to cut it off now before I continue. Really appreciate you being here. I hope you have an amazing day wherever you are in the world. Take care. Bye for now.